So, it's well known that Hello Games release a bunch of free content updates every year for No Man's Sky, which is very much appreciated by the entire community, but you can't help but wonder if things like, well, what if they added this, or adding this feature would totally change and improve the game. Now, in this video, I'm going to go over a bunch of possible updates I think that Hello Games should be adding into the game over the next 18 months, and some of them are total game changers, so make sure you stick around to the end so you don't miss anything important. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. So, I'm going to start off this video by talking about assets and the uniqueness of planets. Sure, there are 18 quintillion planets in No Man's Sky, but if you've been playing the game as long as I have, you feel like you've seen everything the game has to offer, and especially when it comes down to planets. Sure, each planet may be slightly unique in its own way, but it'll always look fairly similar to another planet you visited in the past. And so with that being said, I think Hello Games need to do a major update and spend some time generating more assets to make the planets look more unique. With this, I'm talking about plant life, creatures, biomes, and absolutely everything in between. We've not really had an update like this for a few years now, and the most recent updates have been pretty content specific heavy, which in itself isn't a bad thing, but look at how much some of the other previous asset based updates improved the game, so I definitely think we're long overdue a new asset based content update. And I've said before in previous video that Hello Games should set up a method of No Man's Sky players being able to create or submit their own assets into the game, which could be reviewed and added in. It's certainly a method of increasing the variety, whilst Hello Games could work on other new content in the meantime, although highly unlikely to happen. An update of this nature could even introduce a bunch of new features on planets, so I'm talking about things like jungles, forests, waterfalls, and it could even introduce multi-biome planets as well, so you'd be finding harsh, cold environments at the poles, and hotter, more desert-type environments at the equators. One of the main aspects of No Man's Sky is exploration, so adding a variety of planets with new flora, fauna, and even multi-biome planets would certainly go a long way to improving that aspect of the game. So, moving on, let's talk about customization. This one always divides the players because you get people like myself who would absolutely love the ability to customize our ships, and you get other players who love ship hunting, which I totally understand, but there is definitely a way in which would please both sides of the fanbase. Personally, I think adding ship customization in No Man's Sky would be a game changer, and instead of the fans of ship hunting spending ages looking for ships, you could then update the game so they're now able to hunt for new ship parts and improve your ship with it that way. And of course, that makes everyone pleased, am I right? After seeing Starfield Showcase not so long ago and how much customization there is going to be around your ships specifically, it just makes you think that No Man's Sky is crying out for a feature even half as in depth as that. I mean, at this point, I'd just accept being able to paint our starships and add decals, similar to how we can already do that with Exocraft. It doesn't really make sense that we can't actually do that in my head. And customization doesn't have to be limited to ships either. We could have customization options for our multi-tool as well. This goes back to my previous point about assets and variety. The variety of multi-tools isn't exactly great in the game, so allowing players to customize them and make their own multi-tools completely unique by hunting out parts would certainly add to the experience. Again, even just changes to the colours of them would be a good start, and on the subject of multi-tools, I really think we need the ability to be able to get rid of them. I personally have 3 multiple tools I never use that I got earlier in my save file, but I just cannot get rid of them, which is a bit of a pain, and that would be something really easy to add in. The final one about customization, I would also love the ability to customise our Exocraft even more. I do actually think some of them look pretty cool as they are, and of course you can currently change the colour of them and add decals and whatnot, but being able to change components and give them a totally different appearance would certainly make me use them more than I actually do. I don't know about you guys, but I currently have one of each of the Exocraft, but I barely use them as I just fly around instead. If I could customise them fully, including improving their performance, it would certainly make me use them more than I actually do. Next up, let's talk about the water aspect of No Man's Sky, and I'm specifically referring to a new underwater expansion of the game. Even though so many planets contain vast oceans that are basically a puddle deep, there isn't really much going on beneath them. Sure, we can see the odd crashed ship and the odd abyssal horror, but that's about as far as it goes. The maximum depth of any ocean that I've ever seen isn't particularly deep either, with the deepest I've seen being approximately 100 deep. So just think of the potential of some of the bases if that could be doubled in size. We could also find more abandoned structures which can come with new crests, rewards, and all that good stuff. We could even expand on the horrors in the deep oceans. I also think Hello Games could add another water-based Exocraft or two, because let's be honest, the Nautilon isn't exactly the most exciting submarine in the world, is it? A brand new underwater expansion could also have us hunting for pockets of air and caves with hidden ruins, treasures and new enemies to do battle with down there. I personally think that would make for a damn cool update, but whether or not an underwater based expansion is possible with the procedural generation is another thing entirely, but I certainly think the water aspect of the game could be improved from its current form. And a water based update doesn't even have to be limited to underwater either. Things like rivers and waterfalls could be introduced onto the planet's surface along with actually improving the water physics and appearance. Right now the water looks, well, not quite good enough in my opinion, so I would like Hello Games to add a water based update. Would you as well? Let me know in the comments section. Let's move on. Now, I've said this next one before, but I'd love to see planets with larger settlements and perhaps even a city or two. Now, these don't have to appear randomly on many different planets, but instead on a couple of planets that can be easily accessible to any No Man's Sky player. Perhaps from somewhere like the Space Anomaly or something like that. Now, having large settlements and a city to visit could come with a whole bunch of new quests, rewards, characters and all of those good things. Again, after having seen the in-depth Starfield reveal not too long ago and seeing the large cities and all sorts going on there, it really made me want to have something similar in No Man's Sky. Now, there could be the odd issue with larger settlements and cities, however, if you're playing on the PS4 or the Xbox One due to the hardware limitations. But surely at some point, if Hello Games are going to continue to release free updates, they need to think about whether or not all the consoles are worth supporting still, because it will begin to affect anyone on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S or PC. But let's not get bogged down on hardware and let's move on. So, I've said it once and I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it again in the next month. We need a proper function for the station override. This has now been in the game for over 2 years and still we can't do anything with it. By this point, have Hello Games forgotten about it? Did they initially have an idea of what to do with it, then weren't able to implement it? Did they have an idea and thought, nah, that actually sucks? I honestly don't know at this point, but what's the point of it being there for over 2 years and it having no other purpose? There really are a whole bunch of things it could actually do. We could get the ability to effectively own a space station, and of course, this could be limited to say 5 at any given time. We could then manage trade throughout there, expand the space station rooms, similar to how we can do it on our own freighters already. We could defend it from pirates. There really are a whole host of possibilities. But personally, I think something needs to be done with it, because currently it's doing absolutely bugger all. So there are some smaller scale updates I think would be nice added into the game as well, and these can all come as part of the larger content update. And the first one of those is I would like the ability to turn off, or at least turn down, our exosuit's voice. There's nothing more annoying than it hearing going, inventory full, over and over again. And yes, I realise I know it's my fault that my inventory is full, but I don't need to be told every 2 minutes by that annoying little voice. I would also like to see a good expansion to the base building parts list. Sure, we've got a decent amount of existing parts that we can use, and of course there is glitch building as well and that sort of thing, but I think adding brand new base building assets can never be a bad thing, at least in my opinion anyway, because I sure do enjoy exploring bases and building them. And finally, one thing I don't quite get with regards to freighters is why we can't upgrade their class like we can do with ships and multi-tools. I mean, sure it isn't cheap, but we can do it. Finding an S-Class freighter can take a damn long time, and finding one you actually really like is even longer. Like, I currently have an A-Class freighter because I prefer it to the S-Class ones I've come across so far. So, I'd like the ability to upgrade my freighter please Sean, and I don't mind if it costs me a boatload of nanites to do it. And there folks are a bunch of updates I think Hello Games need to be looking at to make No Man's Sky even better. Which one of these would you like to see, and if there are any updates that you'd love to see that I haven't mentioned in this video, don't forget to leave a comment in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're still here, it would be totally awesome if you could take a few seconds to support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can also now become a channel member as well, where I'll be posting coordinates to a whole bunch of super rare and unique items and places to visit. You'll also get some unique emojis and badges when leaving comments. So what's not to love about that, right? And as always, thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.